we're going to skip the invocation of pledge tonight. And also, all info till 4,500. We're going to item number 3, discussion requested by Commissioner Soder. Call. Commissioner, call meeting is short.
I called the meeting, yes sir I did, and at this time I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for personnel as well as maybe legal matters.
Make a motion.
I make a motion.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
So you changed the agenda?
Aye.
All right. Okay, I didn't hear a motion to change the agenda, but that's okay. It's not my place. I missed it.
Do I hear a motion to come out of executive session?
Make a motion.
Here a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Do I have a motion to go back into regular session?
Make a motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Mr. Doss, you want to get up here? Yep.
Up there just with the purpose of stealing somebody's microphone. I hope everyone can hear me. Just wanted to provide a general update. As anybody that has followed Fannin County government for the last several years may be aware, the county had an EEOC claim brought against it. There was a number of individuals who were reduction in force and were no longer employees of Fannin County. Some of those individuals made an age discrimination case against the county, and that went to the I can't even remember what EEOC stands for. Employment Opportunity Commission, correct. And there was an investigation by the EEOC, and the EEOC voted not to issue a right to sue letter, which means that the EEOC did not endorse the claims that were made against Fannin County. Thereafter, the EEOC did something that quite frankly was unprecedented in that it itself, after having not issued a right to sue letter, as a commission filed suit against Fannin County in the Federal District Court, Northern District of Georgia, Gainesville Division. That case was assigned to the Honorable Richard Story. Earlier this year, there's been a series of events occurring in that case, but the county, through its counsel, made a motion for summary judgment, and the magistrate assigned to the case, and I don't remember the magistrate's name, but the magistrate assigned to the case determined that there was no basis in law or fact for the claim that the EEOC itself had filed against the county. And so motion for summary judgment was granted in favor of the county. The EEOC appealed that case to the district court level, again Judge Richard Story, and Judge Story affirmed the motion for summary judgment in favor of the county and in fact awarded costs against the EEOC. And just to give you some idea of what was going on in that case, the EEOC came up and did an investigation. They interviewed various employees, they took various depositions, and they asked for copies of various documents. County employees were required and did compile over 33,000 pages of documents, which we hand-delivered to the attorney for the county, who in turn provided those to the EEOC. So after all that was done, the county decisions were made in favor of the county on all levels. The same 8 individuals, well, there was a greater number to begin with, but 8 of the individuals, although they had not been, their claim had not been endorsed by the county, by the EEOC, hired private attorneys and filed suit against the county. which has also been pending in the Federal District Court, Northern Division, Gainesville. 4 of those individuals, the county made motions for summary judgment, and 4 of those individuals' claims were dismissed by the federal district judge as having no basis in law or fact. Earlier this year, in February, this case was scheduled to go to trial, first week in February. On Sunday, before the case was to go to trial on Monday morning, one of the plaintiffs was hospitalized and the case was continued. Now, Fannin County has liability insurance for those things that counties are required to have insurance, because there is governmental immunity on some things, through what is called the Association of County Commissioners of Georgia Interlocal Risk Management Agency, which is a service that is provided to the county through the Association of County Commissioners of Georgia. We pay a premium for those, just like you would to your insurance carrier. And subsequent to the hearing being, or the trial being continued, a mediation was held, and that was held in late March. I do not have with me here the specific date, because when we received, and when I say we, the attorney assigned by the Association of County Commissioners of Georgia Risk Management Agency, when we filed a claim, when the county filed a claim, ACCG assigned defense counsel. And when we checked with our defense counsel as to whether or not we needed to be present at the mediation, we were told no, and I was the one that was doing that communication, that the only reason the county would need to be present would be if the 4 individuals requested their jobs back, because that would require an act of the county. So the mediation took place, and the Association of County Commissioners of Georgia elected to settle the case. And there's been some discussion out on the street as to who was paid what, and I've been asked to go over that. 4 individuals with the last names of Burke, Goss, Loudermilk, and Ware were the 4 individuals that remained in the suit. Mr. Burke settled his claim for the back wages that he would have otherwise earned from Fannin County of $51,089.88. Now, I am not a payroll person, but from that, taxes and insurance, retirement, FICA was withheld, and he will get a W-2 for that amount at the end of the year. Mr. Goss was paid the sum of $47,515.19. Mr. Loudermilk was paid the sum of $43,165.19. And Mr. Ware was paid the sum of $51,694.55. These 4 gentlemen had the same 2 attorney firms representing them, and their attorney firms got paid considerably more than Mr. Burke, Goss, Loudermilk, and Ware. And the county was provided a copy of the settlement earlier today, and will of course make that available to anyone that wants that. But the important thing is, from the county standpoint, and one of the things that the commissioners have asked me to emphasize, is that the commissioners were prepared to go to trial on this. We had done everything to be ready to go to trial on this, and the choice to enter into mediation and the choice to settle this was not that of the Board of Commissioners. In fact, each settlement agreement, there's 4, one for each individual, includes a item number 20. It's the same item number in each of them. It's found on page 8 of 10. And for the record, I would like to read it, and I just happen to be reading Mr. Burke's because it's the one on top. Burke further acknowledges that the decision to resolve the civil action referred to herein above was made solely by the Association of County Commissioners of Georgia Interlocal Risk Management Agency, pursuant to its rights under a contract of liability insurance, and was made without specific approval of released parties, as to the terms of this general release. And of course, the release parties would be Fannin County. So the choice to settle this was not made by the county. The county was prepared to go forward and defend its actions. And having won on all other levels was, you don't know the outcome. Nobody proceeding in a trial has a crystal ball. But having won on every other level with the same 33,000 pages of documents was confident in its position. But the choice to settle was not the county's.
Thank you, Ms. Doss. I want to make a motion that we have 2 commissioners sign all checks over $4,500. Do I hear a second on that?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any discussion on anything we talked about, or anything you want to say?
Now that the motion and the second's been made, we all agree that 2 commissioners need to be signing any check over $4,500. That should be put in the motion. Any check over $4,500. Okay?
Absolutely.
Just be clear with everyone. Never again, I hope, we've had several problems with checks leaving here, some have been misplaced, they slipped through, whatever, however they went through. I honestly think that, hopefully from here on out, another check does not slip through here. So I guess for the record, that being said, us having a standard operating procedure in place of 2 commissioners signing checks, that does mean 2 commissioners sign checks. And I'm being redundant on purpose, just simply because we need to make sure that no other check leaves here over $4,500. These checks that have been talked about, these amounts, myself, I wasn't even involved in the cases when they went on. Wasn't apprised of a lot of information, and until I found out all this went on, myself, I hope this never happens again. One of the 2 other commissioners knows when a check is cut from Fannin County Board of Commissioners. If it says Board of Commissioners, that means Board of Commissioners. That's all I have to say.
Mr. Johnson, are you referring to the 4 checks to these individuals?
Yes. I'm referring to a lump sum check of $208,000 on April the 15th, 2016, in which I was not aware of. So I look forward to not ever seeing that happen again.
Who was that $200,000 check made to?
The 4 people missed
4
the
people.
previous.
Oh,
You
okay.
just- yep.
So it's 4 separate checks, in total $200,000. I got you.
If we have insurance, why didn't the insurance pay the claim if the Association of County Governments made the decision?
If I could address that.
Yeah.
Because ACCG is not equipped to issue payroll checks in this type of circumstances, the insured county issues the payroll check and ACCG directly reimburses that amount to the county. What happened in this case was that there was the request for the 4 checks, or the 4 sums. Through payroll, the appropriate deductions were determined. The total amount was known, the 51,089.88, and the other 3 numbers that I've already read to you. On the direction of the attorney for the county, who was it is a firm of O'Quinn and Cronin out of McDonough, Georgia. When a claim is made, an adjuster is assigned and defense counsel is assigned. And Mr. Cronin was the assigned defense counsel. At his direction, the checks were forwarded to him, and he held the checks. ACCG then reimbursed the county penny for penny, and once that was done, settlement documents were signed, Mr. Cronin dispersed the checks. My educated guess is that he would have dispersed those checks to one of the two law firms that represented the plaintiffs. It would be highly unusual for him to have directly mailed those to the plaintiffs, but I can't tell you that that didn't happen.
The question is, the county has been 100% reimbursed for that $200,000 of checks, and that reimbursement came out of the insurance that we'd already paid for.
That is correct, sir.
Okay.
So who approved the writing of that $200,000 check? Who approved that check? Mr. Johnson, you said you didn't know anything about it.
That's why we're here tonight.
And Mr. Sosby, did you know anything about it?
No,
So
ma'am.
are we to assume that Mr. Simons, you're the one who was very
I guess
knowledgeable?
you can assume whatever you like, yeah.
Well, were you aware of it?
I was aware of it, but it,
Okay. And
yeah, I was aware of it.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Huh.
Were you aware of the insurance company's decision to settle? That's when you became aware of it. They made the decision. So the insurance company can bound the county?
As
Yep.
I just.
Okay,
Yes, the agreement that's signed specifically says, number 20 in all 4 copies specifically says that they did not ask for or obtain, and that's me summarizing, it specifically said Burke or any of the individuals acknowledges that the decision to resolve the civil action referred to herein above was made solely by the Association of County Commissioners of Georgia, interlocutory risk management agency pursuant to its rights under a contract of liability insurance, and was made without specific approval of released parties, and the released parties would be Fannin County, a political subdivision of the state of Georgia, as to the terms of this general release. The county asked if it needed to participate in mediation, was told no, and it was settled without any input from the county.
Do you have the dates when that mediation took place? Or
I do not have those dates here, but I would be glad to provide those to you. It was late March, but I simply don't remember them off the top of my head.
Okay.
It was a one-day event.
Two-part question. One part, is the county gonna pay the payroll taxes on that, or were we reimbursed for the payroll taxes?
We were reimbursed penny for penny. So anything that
Social
was,
Security?
everything, everything.
The second part of this is our insurance under this experience-based?
Well, actually, we talked to them this past weekend at the Association of County Commissioners meeting, and this is the first claim that they have paid for Fannin County like this. We've had some personal injury, like, you know, a dump truck rollover, or a fire truck get involved in a collision. We've had those type claims. It has been our experience, and Ms. Kirby's actually composing this number for us. You know, we pay premiums through the year, but we always get a refund at the end of the year because it's a group, it's a...
Mutual.
Mutual company?
Yes, and so they pay back, and we always get a refund of some of our premiums.
What is our
You understand?
Then what is the refund?
Well, the refunds have been, like 30,000,
37, I think
was the last one, 37,000.
And that's annual?
So that's.
And what's the premium?
Well, that's what I'm looking at, because we break it down between departments on liability costs. And so, I don't know that off the top of my head, Joe, and I meant to bring it, and I wanted to get it updated just to make sure I was correct when we came up here, and ACCG had not sent us anything back yet. I could only go off of the last year, and I just totally forgot to pull it before I came up here. I'm sorry, but I can get that for you and let you know what our last premium paid was.
So that is a mutual insurance company in lieu of an experience-based rate program?
It's a pool, yes.
You understand my question?
Yes, and we participate along with the vast majority of counties that are not self-insured in the Association of County Commissioners pooled-based insurance program.
Anyone else got any questions?
Real fast.
Yes, sir.
In the executive session, was this the only topic discussed? And the board is aware that settled legal matters are public business and not subject to executive session?
There, well, you also discussed personnel, but you
Personnel.
haven't taken any action on anything.
That's what I want. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Your motion to adjourn.
No.
Wait.
Excuse
Oh, I'm
me.
sorry, Joe.
Y'all off agenda. Y'all skipped from number 3 to number 7. There's a public comment in the middle there. I'd like to make public comments. I've been here 2.5 hours. There are other people. There are people who left because the agenda was handled out of order. So can we have
Okay,
an opening
public
for
comment.
public comments?
Let's go, Joe.
I'm Joe Webb, and it's a shame. And I know the chairman has the right to set the agenda and it's subject to change at his discretion. But it's a shame that we're having a special meeting and we skip from a discussion requested by Chairman Sosby directly to executive session, skipping public comments, and a lot of the public had to leave. So again, I'm very disappointed in that. I came to make public comments tonight. My public comments are that in 1999, Fannin County had a standalone public library on public library-owned property. The Fannin County government and courts were crowded into what is now the Art Center next door. The jail was below standard and legal liability. There was no county water authority. There was no county recreational park. There was no county recreational center. There was no money. To solve these large capital problems, our county government stepped up and did what governments don't want to do. They raised taxes in the form of splosh, and they went into debt with about a $20 million bond. The splosh paid for roads, streets, and bridges, while the old county road budget paid the principal and interest on the bonded debt. We still owe, as of April 1st, $5,757,288. The last payment is on April 1st, 2021. The last payment is $1,122,375. The bond actually built the courthouses and the government offices. It built the public library. It built the jail. Leftover bond money then paid for the county recreational park land, the ball fields, and then in 2004 it paid for $900,000 of lighting. That was the leftover bond money. The standalone public library's land was taken by the county under a federally approved contract, and the standalone public library was torn down to build the Fannin County Courthouse complex. Ironically, the courts are running out of space again and will need the public library's property again. The federal contract states that the county will provide land for the public library. If suitable county land is available and can be transferred to the public library, then the splosh request for the library could be reduced by $500,000. Note, the land is not counted towards the grant in the state match. Also note that in the decade from 1996 until past 2004, land was donated to the county for a library by the Whaleys. That land is now the walking park over by Mineral Springs. If land is not given by the county, it must be given by a citizen. It can't be in the grant. And that's part of the reason for an extra $500,000 in the grant, because that money should already be in an account for land for the library. That said, we could reduce the splosh by $500,000 if that land were available. The real thing is we can afford a county library. We can afford the splosh of county library, and the money's there. So I'm asking, please look at it. It's probably about a $3 million building. In 2004, it was a $2.5 million building. Didn't include land. The land was being given. Also, at that time, you couldn't do materials and furniture. So as we look at the request, the county is being requested to put up a match of $2.5 million. $500,000 of that would be for land. Probably another half is going to be for books and pictures and things like that other than the building. The building's probably more like $3 million, somewhere in there. But that said, those building costs are getting old, and we're talking about building a library in 2023. So I think it's a reasonable position to be in. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you hear me? Oops. Is it on? Okay. My name is Dr. Kathleen Thompson.
Excuse me, turn it
I'm
on.
not sure it's on.
I don't, but
It's not on.
There's a switch on the side of it. Should be a little switch on the side of it.
You got it?
technically,
Your left side. Yep.
oh, so there's a green light. Technologically challenged person, pre-computer dinosaur speaking to you. My name is Dr. Kathleen Thompson. First of all, I would like to thank you for your support of the library in the past. As a person on the Board of Trustees, there was a time when our hours were short, they had to be, it's just so much easier when you have regular hours, you know when it opens, you're not changing them all the time. And that was something that the three of you did. And I am most appreciative as a trustee that you did that for the county, and I am appreciative of your continued support to keep the library open. I wanted to point out two things about libraries that make them especially strong in what we do, and I don't mean to compete with what anybody else does. There are a lot of good things going on in this county. My kids are now almost 40, and I remember all the activities they've been involved in. I've worked with young people today in various different groups, and one thing about the library is, we have a lot of good stuff. We have sports in the high schools and schools. We have recreation. We have scouts. We just have all kinds of things going on for kids. The band at the high school. Band at the high school was wonderful for our daughter. Our son was an Eagle Scout. But young families are struggling to find things for their children. If you're on minimum wage around here, the going rate, I guess, is about $10 an hour. It's hard with kids. And some of those places offer scholarships, some don't. But you gotta go in and say, hey, I don't have the money, can you give me a scholarship? Nothing costs anything to the public at the library. There's programs for kids, there's opportunities, and nobody has to go to the librarian and say, look, if you got a scholarship, because I just can't afford that class for my kids. So I think it's important to know that the library is a freebie and offers a tremendous amount. The other thing is it includes all age groups. Diana, who does the tech stuff, goes to the senior center once a month. I'm going to sit down with her and figure out some of the commands Thursday on Word that I don't get. You can bring your young children for a summer program. There's just so much at the library that covers every age, from itty-bitty kids to, my neighbor Lucy talks to Diana once a month and she's 95. So I just wanted to point out those two things about the library that make it very special. But again, I would like to thank you for your support.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Will there be a meeting next Tuesday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone else? Public commentary is closed. Okay. You got anything else you want to say? Good. Your motion to adjourn.
Make the motion.
All in favor, say aye.